and this is a cabbage market. This is where every day farmers markets take place, and you can really buy nice fresh produce. Then again, different view on one of the churches. This is St. Michael's Church, and this is the Castle Spielberg again, and an aerial view. And not to just make it look very ancient, we have a lot of new architecture, and maybe if anyone is interested in the modern UNESCO sites, we have the Villa Tugendhat right next to our university. So this is the aerial shot of the MotoGP, which unfortunately is not taking place this year. And these are typically, the crowds that you can experience if you go to a Christmas market in Brno, and what you can buy local produce. So that was just briefly about Brno, and now a little bit about our university. So we celebrated our 100th anniversary 2 years ago. So it's relatively, middle-aged compared to, it's not really an old university, but it's also not the newest one. It started as a University of Agriculture and Forestry, but there are schools that are like more general. So we have 5 faculties. We have Faculty of Agronomy, Forestry and Wood Technologies. The faculty that I come from is the Faculty of Business and Economics. Then we have University of Horticulture, and that's where students study for the winemaking and also garden architecture. And then we also have a Faculty of Regional Development and International Studies. Besides that, we have also Institute for Lifelong Learning. And on average, we have about 10,000 students. And of course, we have the ECT as label, which means that you can transfer your credits if you come study at our school. So this is the building where the classes at our faculty take place. Pedro was also lecturing here a couple of years ago. And what is interesting is that we have also some quite nice laboratories because we have also IT programs. So we have a laboratory of virtual reality. My students and students of my colleagues can use eye tracking laboratory. We have also EEG, so we can explore and investigate, like how the brain operates when you are, let's say, making shopping decisions and, like looking at advertisements or watching a website and so on. So just to give you an idea, whose name has given the name of our university. It's named after Gregor Johann Mendel. So I wonder if anyone ever heard about him and maybe knows what is he known for. Do you know, perhaps? He lived about 200 years ago, and he was is considered to be the founder of modern science of genetics. So he defined the laws, how actually the genes influence the hereditary signs, the children of the parents, and all these principles. And he investigated this on peas, on sweet peas. So, but besides being the father of genetics, try to guess what else was he involved in. Just maybe you can make a guess, maybe in the chat, or you can just write it down for yourself. But he was quite a Renaissance person. So maybe if Pedro is still around, or Isabel would like to try to guess, or anyone would like to try to guess which is also correct about Johann Gregor Mendel? Anyone brave enough to make a guess?
I don't know, but I'm a volunteer fireman just because.
Don't worry, there is no so you think the farmer? Yes, okay, it's correct, because like he started
Seriously?
I'm sorry,
It's correct.
yeah, farmer
It's
is
correct.
Yes, farmer is, if you said farmer, did you say farmer?
No, I didn't
what
say
did you
farmer.
say? What did you say?
I said fireman.
Fireman. Okay. Oh, sorry. Yes. Fireman is not correct. So, but I thought you said farmer. Farmer is correct. He also was interested in let's say in trying to develop certain improvements in some trees and so forth. So he was into farming too. Yes. So anyone else would like to guess what else? It's not true that fireman, and it's true that it's a farmer. So what is your guess?
I think he was a beekeeper.
Beekeeper, correct answer. Yes. And actually he wanted to investigate also, about the bees and how they inherit through the generations. But it was too complicated to really, develop some good conclusions on that. So there was no really big significant discovery. But even if you visit his the monastery where he was living, they still have the original beehives where he did his research. So you would actually get to see them. So very good guess. So what about, so let's go one by one. So do you think that he was a naturalist, so someone who's interested in the nature?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's correct. Then what about meteorologists? What do meteorologists do? They're interested in
the weather.
In the weather, very good. So do you think he was also a meteorologist or not?
Maybe.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Anyone has a different idea?
Yes, just because.
Just because.
Yes, because
the weather.
Because he was interested in the nature so much, so he followed also, every day 3 times he kept the records of the temperatures, the pressure of the air, and the humidity. And again, if you, well, I don't know if it's still displayed, but I went to the museum of Mendel and I could see his really nicely written records from so many years in a row. I admired his that he really managed to do it day by day for such a long period of time. How about ornithologists? Do you know what ornithologists do? What are they interested in?
I don't know.
In birds, yes, like they investigate and then are interested in birds. So anyone thinks that he was also interested in birds?
Yeah, if he's interested in bees.
Well, we have no records. Maybe he was, but there's no evidence about that. We already know that he was not volunteer a fireman, but how about a monk and later an abbot of the Augustinian monastery in Brno? So I already kind of suggested that it's true, yes. And what about member of the board of directors of the newly founded Mortgage Bank of Moravia? Yes or no?
No, definitely not.
But it's true, he was. just for 3 years before he died, but he was also a member and a linguist, someone interested in languages. Yes or no? What do you think?
Yep.
Not really. Because his parents were of German nationality. He actually even had problems with speaking Czech without mistakes. Yes, but honestly, he knew Greek. At that time, it was important for scientists to know Latin and Greek. So he was, like relatively advanced compared to most of us today. Yeah, he knew 4 languages, but it was not his research area, and he was not like a professional in any of the language except for the German.
I have a question.
But you can still see that there is still yes, you have a question.
Wasn't he a teacher also?
Yes, he was also a teacher. He was teaching, but not at university. He was teaching at
little
secondary
kids.
schools.
Yeah.
Yes, at secondary schools and elementary schools. What is interesting, he never finished his university education. Do you know why?
No.
Because his ideas about the science were more advanced than the teachers, and they disagreed with his ideas, so they failed him. So he tried twice to pass the final exams, and because like he spoke about the loss of the genetics, and they didn't agree with him, so they failed him, and so then he gave up. So he never finished university, but he was really important and very smart. But he was a teacher, so that's correct. Thank you for adding that. So that's why, just to give you an idea why we are so proud to have his name in the name of the university, because he really was a very smart person. So let's move on to the country origin and its impact on international business. So as you may know, when you're buying sometimes certain products, you're interested when they were produced, right? You give preference to certain products. Let's say if something, what would you like, what do you prefer to buy from Italy? What kind of products are really well made in Italy? Which ones do you think?
Cars.
Cars, yes, some cars, yes, very good. What else are they good at?
Some clothes.
Yes, fashion, definitely, wonderful. Then maybe what is very good in France?
Not
Pasta.
cars.
The food.
The food, yes, like French cheese, yeah, and maybe let's say
Also
the sparkling wines, maybe fashion also. So yes, and cosmetics, maybe, yes. Then what is like usually a good sign of quality if something is made in Germany? What is Germany good at?
The beer.
Cars.
Beer, yes. And
Cars.
also cars, probably, yes. And do you know anything that would be worth buying if you would go to Austria?
Motorbikes.
Yes, they have really good KTM motorbikes, right?
Maybe
Or
chocolate.
maybe some chocolate. Yes, very good. And anything that is really good and that is produced in America?
Junk food.
Some food again. Yeah, maybe some certain.
Junk food.
What?
Junk food.
Junk food. Okay, junk food. Yes, definitely. Junk food. That's a really correct answer, but I don't know where really if it's something that everyone would really need to buy. But definitely, it's something that people still eat, nevertheless. So I'm wondering. So what comes to your mind if we speak about Czech Republic? So if anyone would like to join me, you can go to menti.com and put the code in, and you can write your answer, and I will share with you the results in a moment as you start answering. So try to find the website menti.com and enter this code 92802249, and you can join the answering. So I will go to that link and you will see how the results will be presented. So I will share again. Okay, where are we? Not this one. Here. Can you see now the The second, yeah, it's coming, it's starting. Can you see the can you see the
Yes.
answers? Okay, so one person already answered, so we have more people answering. So do you think that anything we are good at, or anything that is produced in the Czech Republic, or do you know any famous Czech people, or anything that you ever heard about, besides maybe including what we talked about? So we all have 3 people who answered. Oh, we have a football a goalie here. Okay. So if anyone else would want to join and answer, we have just 3 people answering so far. Okay. And cheap beer, yeah. Okay, we have like more footballers and football teams. Okay, wonderful. You have a really good awareness of our soccer, of football. And well, feel free to join and answer also the next question. If anyone already answered the first one, then we have also the second question. And the second question is about the products you think that the Czech Republic could be well known for. I assume that there is one product that you already mentioned earlier, and it's the beer, but if anything else also comes to your mind, try to make a guess. What is Czech Republic also good at producing? And you can, no answer is probably wrong. You can try, you can make a guess. So go to next and try to answer the same, the next question. Try to think of something, at least one answer. So anyone has the courage to try?
How do we go to that page? I'm not.
You just go to next. You know, you have the if you are
Yeah,
if you were
I'm
on
trying
the
the
same
same.
page, there should be second slide. Yeah, and then just maybe go next.
Me doesn't show the second slide. So.
Yeah, it doesn't show.
It doesn't. Okay, so let me do it maybe like this, if that would change. Okay. Or I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, it worked.
Now it worked. Yeah. Okay. So try to
Maybe
try
milk.
to get there.
Milk.
Okay. If it's not working, then we can stop. But
It is working.
this one is working. Okay, so the next one. Okay, it's coming. Yeah. But football championships. Okay.
Oh, milk. I don't know.
So anyone else would like to add anything else? And you can of course repeat the beer if you want to, but if anyone so okay, porcelain. Okay, very good. And anything else? Well, it just shows the Czech Republic is not so very well known among young people. Probably we should do something about that. And I will tell you in a moment a few things that are worth paying attention to. So, okay, automotive industry. Okay, very good. Yeah, the Skoda cars, for example, or we have also truck companies like Tatra and other. Then maybe if anyone was a fan of motorcycles from the past, it was Java. The motorbike was produced in the Czech Republic too. Then Yeah. So, okay, coal. Well, yes, we used to have coal mines. Yes. And okay. So if anyone still jewelry, okay, excellent. We'll talk about that too. Beans. Beans. Interesting. I'm not really aware of being really good at beans production, but well, we do produce beans too, definitely. Yeah, but I don't think we really export them very much. Okay, so thank you very much for your answers for the moment, and we return back to the presentation, and we will have one more short quiz before I start providing some some answers and information. So what do you think? What's the size of the Czech Republic? How many people live in the Czech Republic? What do you think? 5 million? 10 million? You think 5 million? It's actually 10 million. Yes, we are 10 million. Prague has approximately 1.2, 1.5 million people. And then, altogether, it's about 10 million. And the capital, you probably know it's Prague. Then, if you would go to a pub and you would ask for a big beer, which is in Czech velké pivo, that's one of the first things that students learn when they come to the Czech Republic. So how much would you get? A, B, C, or D?
D.
D?
D.
C.
D? No, it's just B. It's
Well.
half a liter. Yes. And if you want to ask for small beer, how much would you get? It's also one of these options. It's 0.3. Yeah. This is a small beer, and 0.5 is a big beer. Okay, so when do you think that the Czech Republic came to exist? You know, how old is the country? Oops, sorry. How old is the country? What do you think? Is it A, B, or C?
1993.
C,
Okay,
C.
yes. C, yes, because we separated. We used to be
From
Czechoslovakia. Yes,
Yes.
and we separated and started being Czech Republic in 1993 only. So we're a relatively young country. And here, just you can make a guess. How many? Who are our neighbors? So whether it's Germany, Austria, Hungary, Poland, and Slovakia, or is it Germany, Austria, Hungary, Slovakia, Poland, and Ukraine, or is it Germany, Austria, Slovakia, and Poland, or is it Germany, Russia, Ukraine, Poland, and Slovakia? So A, B, or C, or D?
A. I think it's C.
It's C. Yes, C is correct answer.
Hungary is not.
Hungary is not neighboring with us. Hungary is neighboring with Slovakia and Austria. Yeah, but it's not too far to get there. And the last question, just like Portugal, we have a lot of interesting UNESCO sites. So do you think we have 4, 7, or 12?
4.
It's more than 4?
Don't know.
7?
It's actually 12. Yes. For being and we have also the intangible UNESCO, heritage things. So if we would not be only counted the sites, we would have more items. So thank you, you did really well. Thank you. And just for your interest, if you would ever want to know some interesting things, so Brno could be considered like the world capital of microscopes, because over 1/3 of all microscopes, well, actually, no, 2/3 of all microscopes produced in the world, even the digital ones, electronic microscopes are produced in the Czech Republic in Brno. Yes, so this we are actually like the leaders in the world with the advance in the electron microscopy.
Wow.
Then medical beds by Linet is also like the world leading company. So this bed actually can diagnose the patient. It does the work for the for the doctor. So it actually like watches over certain, you know, like body functions and can send messages to the doctors. And you know, it's like 6 billion Czech crowns every year that, well, per year, that are, you know, like the income of the Linnet company. And especially now, the income has even grown thanks to the virus pandemic. Maybe another interesting fact, we are the leaders, world leaders in vinyl records production. Such artists as Lady Gaga or Rolling Stones, you know, all these print their records in the Czech Republic. Yes, we produce over 6 million records per year. So that's maybe interesting thing that not very many people know. Then we're also really big on production of scooters. So that's one of our big export items. And then maybe less interesting, but still also big part of our exports are the band saws. What is maybe more interesting and funny also is that we have almost world monopoly. There's no other country that has even a very close tie with us in production of fly traps. And it's because we have a really good recipe for the sticky part, the glue that is on these fly traps. And many different companies try to find the recipe that would be close to this one, that doesn't dry out and is, you know, like working and attracts the insect. And they have not really discovered the same recipe yet. So I think we have about 90% of world production of the fly traps in the world. And then 1/3 of all trams from the world production are produced in the Czech Republic. And they run in different regions. However, the competition is tight, so we lost some of the contracts because we're probably not very good at lobbying. And maybe you know this product, antivirus Avast. So this is also a Czech product, and it really made some Czech IT guys very rich. And also, maybe you heard about the glass industry. We're really good at production of crystal, the chandeliers, and, you know, the glassware, and you know, also the jewelry. So as some of you mentioned, so this is something that has a really long tradition, and people have really great skills. And if you visit Czech Republic, you can visit many museums, and you can actually visit also many production plants and have a look how the glass is produced. So it's quite interesting. And what is currently also in high demand is nanotechnologies. We're really good at production of nanofibers, especially the university in Liberec, Technical University in Liberec. So now they were also very in demand because of the pandemic. And just then, maybe some of you may know about the PC games that were produced in the Czech Republic, and maybe some of you also know that the Semtex was invented in the Czech Republic or Czechoslovakia, and so on. So yes, so there would be a longer list we could talk about, but I think it already gave you an idea of what are the typical Czech exports. So now I wonder, what do you think that the Portugal stands out with? So again, you can use Menti and then use this code 9811 9237. So I wonder, what do you think that makes Portugal stand out? So again, I will switch to the
Sorry, can you repeat the code? Okay.
Okay, I'll do it again. Sorry, I was too fast. So let's go here. It's 98, 11, 92, 37. So take your time. I will switch later because it will take you time to answer. So enter this code. And I will switch in a moment. So 2 people already answered.
Four people, four.
Someone.
Yes, 4 people. Yes, some more people can join. Yes.
There are private jokes from the soccer industry there.
Ceramic, wine, food.
Someone has to explain the meaning of cortiça.
Okay, I will let you do that.
Alguém escreveu em inglês.
Okay, cork.
Okay, glass. Also glass. Shoes. Or not shoes. Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
quality
Shoes,
shoes.
right?
Yeah. The sun, yes, good point. The sun.
Put tourism.
Tourism is
So we have already 10 people answered. Do we have more people that could provide their answers yet? Anyone still did not participate? And still, here is the code. You can join if you have not yet.
wine isn't at the center. Also beer, you also have beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, have beer.
You have some good beers too. Definitely, I tried them. Yes.
Not so tasty as the Czech one.
Well, but they're still refreshing. Still refreshing.
Yeah. Shoes, shoes, beer.
Well, Isabel and Pedro, you can type in your answers too. You can join.
Yeah. That's a computer. You can enter.
Okay, we have 11 answers already. So, but you can join and provide your answers too.
Gramentimeter.
Okay, yeah, I see some music coming in. Yes.
Also music.
Yes, yes, yes. We have Fadu here already.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I do understand, of course, I agree. Portuguese wine is really good, and I like Portuguese food too. Definitely, Cork definitely belongs here. Culture, football, fado, beaches. Yes, I actually managed to go swimming despite the cold temperature and the windy environment. But since I was by the beach, I had to go dip myself. But my hands were freezing like crazy because it was in May and it was still very cold. Then I do know about the ceramic industry. Yes, in Portugal. Definitely football players, sun, and food in general. I know Ronaldo. But Algarve is a city, isn't it?
No, it's a
Yes.
region.
Or is it also some kind of a product?
Algarve is a region.
It's a region.
It's a region, yes. Okay. And what is it known for? Tell me. I would like to learn more.
It's known for their beaches, and lots
Okay,
of tourists like to go there in the summer.
It's south of Lisbon, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And so I'm never familiar with Jorge Jesus, or tell me how correct my pronunciation.
He's a coach. He's a football coach.
Okay. And Jana Felix.
Bruno Bento.
He's a player.
Okay, it's a football
Very
player.
good.
Yeah,
George Jesus is this guy.
this is a
Okay.
Is this guy. George Jesus is this guy.
Okay.
Football meme in Portugal.
Jorge Jesus in the at the wall, the digital wall is using that Bruno is using is precisely the coach Jorge Jesus. Maybe
Okay. Good to know.
Why did
And what about this? What is this? I don't even know how to pronounce
That's
it.
cork. That's cork in Portuguese.
Okay. And how do you pronounce it?
Curtiça? Curtiça.
Curtiça?
Yes.
Curtiça. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So, okay, I think you chose quite good things. Maybe you could have also added more specific, like port wine, which would also be like more specific also, because nowhere else you can produce the true port wine, right?
Yeah.
And what else? Yeah, but definitely I agree. Good choices, guys. Okay, so back to our presentation. So, well, I don't think we really need to spend much time speaking about all these advantages that that make Czech Republic a good place for living and studying and working. But I will share the presentation with you so you can have a look at it later on. But just for interest, if you ever wore contact lenses, so the material for contact lenses was developed or discovered, or the guy who invented it was Professor Otto Wichterle, and he actually created this mixture at home, and he made his laboratory from toys. Yeah, it was like a toy parts for construction, and he could, because at that time he could not really use the laboratory, so he discovered it at home when he was doing his research in the evenings at home, and he discovered this product. Unfortunately, the Czechoslovak government then was not in favor of making him get a patent for this material. So because they would think, because it was communist time and they were against him getting rich, so he had to he was not allowed to file for a patent. So that's why so many companies can now use this material without anyone benefiting really from it. Then if you ever had a sugar in a cube, it was also invented in the Czech Republic. And then I think all of you know the word robot. That was invented, by the Czech writer Karel Čapek when he used it in one of his science fiction plays. And it became, like international word. We do not have so many words that became a part of other languages. As far as I am known, Portuguese actually brought about 70 words to one quite foreign language. Do you know which language accepted or adjusted some Portuguese words, and it became of their vocabulary? Do you know what country or what language I'm talking about? It's actually Japan, because like they were the first Europeans that came to Japan, and they brought many products that were not available and typical for that region. So they learned how the Portuguese call them, yes, and they kind of adjusted the or created Japanese words out of the Portuguese words. Yes, so, and some say, that's what I heard, that actually the thank you in Japanese is actually kind of influenced by the Portuguese obrigado, and they have arigato. Yes, So they say there is some kind of maybe influence also in that. So, and we have also some very ancient discoveries, because in Stone Age it was very populated. There were settlements in our region. So for example, this is a Venus from Donji Viestonice, not far away from Brno again, and it's one of the oldest stone figures carved by people that were discovered. And of course, like the Prague Castle, it's the biggest castle area in the world. Then actually, if you go anywhere in the Czech Republic, you will find so many castles, but well kept. You can go and visit them, and you would feel like in a fairy tale, because they are really preserved. They still have the original furniture and decorations. So definitely, I think there are over something between 200 and 300 castles that are open for public. Yes, and you can go and visit them. And then of course beer, and maybe if you know, certain category of beers is called Pilsner, right? You heard about the Pilsner category of beers. So it's named after, like the city of Plzeň, which is in German Pilsen, and like ER, just like in English, is like, it comes from Pilsen, so Pilsner. And it's a kind of a beer, but named after the city in the Czech Republic. And Budweis is a German name for the city České Budějovice. So Budweiser actually means beer from České Budějovice. So the Americans stole the name Budweiser, and now we had to actually have legal fights over the brand in many countries. So somewhere we won and we can use the name Pilsner, I mean Budweiser, and somewhere Americans won and we are not allowed to use it. So for example, in America, of course, we cannot call our Budweiser beer Budweiser, and they call it Czech bar, which sounds really strange and very bad to me. But again, Americans are not allowed to sell their brand under Budweiser in the Czech Republic the way they do. They have to sell it under Bud, or the shorter versions. Okay, just a quick an idea. We have 14 regions, and Brno is in the South Moravia region, and Prague is here. So what to expect when you come to the Czech Republic? So again, I would like you to guess. Well, maybe let me start with this. Czechs are many times considered like not very friendly people from the first glance, because what is typical is that Czechs, for some reason, don't really smile much, just throughout the day. They're like more like grinning, they're more like this, and only when they're having fun they're really smiling. They are rather reserved. I kind of blame the communist era, because like if anyone was looking too happy, it meant that they would be maybe suspicious, and that maybe the situation of their family is better than the rest. So people would envy them. So people like pretend they're okay, but they're not really great. Then my question, what do you think? Do Czechs use their hands when talking a lot, or not much? What do you think?
Not much.
Not much, correct. Yes, of course, there are different personalities. Every person is different, but most Czechs are relatively, not big gestures. Okay, greetings. Of course, situation now is a little bit complicated, but in general, normally, what do you think? How many kisses are typical for Czechs when they greet?
Maybe 3.
3? Anyone else thinks a different number? What is anyone else's guess?
0 kisses. They don't kiss. They don't kiss.
Correct answer. We don't kiss usually when we meet. Do you know what we do instead?
What do
I
you
don't know. I just guessed. So.
We usually shake hands, if it's a formal meeting. Yes. But normally we just say hello, yeah, or dobrý den, yeah, like good day. So what do you think that is a typical body distance when you're talking to someone? How far do you usually stand? Is it the same like in Portugal, or a little bit less, or a little bit more? Or, just compare it, how far you usually stand next to a person when there is not social distancing required. So what is the typical distance for talking to a person in Portugal? And then you can tell me if it's more or less in the Czech Republic. What do you think? How far do you usually stand when you're talking to a friend? How far do you stand usually?
In Portugal, side by side.
Okay, so you're really close. Yeah?
But I don't believe they are close there. So,
So you think the distance is a little bit further, yeah? A little bit bigger distance. Okay, I think you're correct, because the typical distance is about, 60 centimeters. Yeah, people stand apart usually a little bit. And that's usually the closest when they are not really good friends. If you're friends, okay, you would stand closer, of course, yeah. And if you're with your girlfriend or boyfriend, the contact is really also intensive. But normally the distances are for two people talking, 60 and between 60 centimeters to 100 meter and 20 centimeters usual, yeah. And then there is a big, if you speak to more people, the distance is even a little bit bigger. And so Czechs keep a little bit bigger distance, but it's not still as big as maybe in Finland. Yeah, in Finland, they tend to be even further. Then what do you think? What is an acceptable level of clothing to wear for schools, for universities? What do you think? A would be acceptable, B would be acceptable, or C or D would be required? What do you think?
I think B, it's okay. But here in Portugal, A, it's fine. Every boy or girl goes in their sweatpants, everybody.
Well, I worry that after the quarantine, it will become typical also for Czech Republic. Yes, now everyone is wearing sweatpants, but normally it's not considered acceptable. Yes, what is expected is the B. Yes, if you go for a test or exam, it's kind of expected you should dress up like C. And if you go for the final state exams, you're expected to dress really well and have a like the D. Yes, so girls in dresses and costumes, or if you're a guy, you have to have like a nice suit if you go to a final oral examination. Yeah. Okay, what about our punctuality? What do you think? Are Czechs punctual, or do they typically, or so let's say if you have a meeting that starts at 5, when do you come? When do you think that you're expected to arrive?
I believe they are punctual because they are known for the clocks.
4:50.
And Bruno, what do you think?
4:50. They arrive at 4:50, 10 minutes early.
4:50. Okay. So you're very close. Yes. If there is a meeting, it's usually expected that you should be on time. Yes. And sometimes, like if you need to, let's say, visit a bathroom first or something, it's better to come a little bit earlier to do whatever you need and then be really on time. Yes. So that is kind of especially for business. Yeah. If it's like informal, if you go to let's say a party with your friends, it's okay to come a little bit later, but definitely it's not like 1 hour late. Yeah, it's typically only let's say 10 minutes later. Yeah, after the official time of the beginning. If you go to let's say business meeting, being late is considered rude if you don't call. If you have, let's say, a delay on a traffic or something like that, you're expected to make a phone call that you will be late. Yes. And do you think that if you start a meeting and the meeting is scheduled, let's say from 5 to 6, do you think that if you don't finish everything, that you will continue after the time is over? Or do you think you will have to reschedule and meet again?
I think he will have to reschedule it.
Probably, yes. If there is someone else having meeting at 6, they will finish with you and you will have to arrange next meeting again. Yeah, so that's more typical. So we will get to a few things connected to that in a moment. So let me just give you a kind of a briefer. Of course, there are more aspects to culture than these, but these are probably the most important elements of the culture that are different in not just in countries, but in different regions. So the language, yes, attitudes towards time, we already touched that a little bit. Then different education, we have different law and government that also influences the situation, how the country is run. Then religion plays a role. The type or how families look like and behave is different. And also, the social relationships, with your friends, with your co-workers and things like that. And of course, over generations, there are some changes. Yes, you can also experience that maybe your parents are a little bit different than your generation, and maybe your grandparents are a little bit different and their expectations and values, right? So although it still has some signature, like Portuguese culture is different than Spanish culture, right? Even though you're very close to one another from geographical point of view. So religion, how do you think that religion can influence the situation in the country? And how does it influence the culture? What do you think? So here you have a picture that shows different kinds of, like kind of regions with predominant kind of values and connected to the religion. So
I don't know if I'm right, but I read that 19% of the population have a religion, so they don't are very religion.
Yes, well, it
I don't
depends.
know if it's right.
It depends in different countries. You will see that actually Czech Republic, in the next slide, you will see, I think, that Czech Republic belongs to one of the top countries where there are most people who say they don't believe or they don't belong to any church. Yes, well, look at that. But the religion influences many things, like the values. Yeah, so let's say how we celebrate holidays, how we, let's say, perceive the relationship between men and women and the parents and children, how we, let's say, treat different treaties in business and many things. Yes, it's connected. Like you know that, for example, Catholic Church sets different values than, let's say, like Islamic cultures, or let's say the Hindu culture and so forth, right? So here you can see the biggest religions in the world, and they're in alphabetical order, not to be based on their size. So we have Buddhism around the world, we have Christianity, we have Hinduism, then we have indigenous religions. Those are like the minorities in different regions. So for example, like north of Finland, the Sami people, they still have many different gods of the nature, and they believe in them. Then we have Islam, Judaism, then we have people who don't believe in any religion and so forth. And they have impact on how society is structured. Let's say, interesting thing about, let's say, for example, Islam actually influences also the interests in the banks. Yes, because in Quran it's considered like improper to ask for interest for the money. So there are different approaches to how they set the payment for rented for money you lend. Then what kind of goods and services are purchased or produced. So maybe it influences what food you eat or not and things like that. So definitely religion should be something you pay attention to and try to understand the rules, because sometimes people are very offended if you don't respect their religious beliefs, right? So here you can see where the different religions are like the top ones, you know, like here the Christianity is the leading religion. Then here you can see the Islamic area. Then here you can see the Buddhism. Yeah, then you can see here the Hinduism here and so forth. Yeah, so those are the most dominant areas. Then here is the picture I was talking about, the where the world's atheist lives. So those are the people who don't really want to belong to any church, and they say, well, maybe they believe in higher powers, but it's probably maybe God or not, but it's no particular religion. And you can see that number one is China, and then number two are Czech Republic and Japan. Again, maybe it's the heritage of the communist time when many Christians were persecuted for practicing the religion. But I would say that, you know, like many people believe in the Christian values, but they just don't belong to any church. Yes. Okay. How about family? How do you think that family influences culture? What do you think? How could family influence the culture? Let's say, imagine your Portuguese families, and how does it influence the culture of Portugal? Or how does it play a role in the culture? What do you think? Maybe Pedro, do you know how families play the role, how they influence the culture?
Yes, they do.
Well,
In
in
fact,
fact, yes, because
all the areas of society.
in fact, when we negotiate conditions to work in any institution, typically people think about time for the family, time for their lives, trying the balance between careers and family. But personally, from my point of view, we have seen in last decades a deep change especially in young women mentality. They giving more relevance to their professional careers, and they are delaying on purpose the feeling of being mothers. Some of them easily accept the idea of not having kids. So in sociological terms, we are watching slightly a change. Our family values are changing. Maybe more in more individualist, not selfish, but more individualistic perspective than family perspective.
I guess that it's because, well, that it's because of the lack of opportunities they have, so they are not having any children, they are not raising families, and it's creating a lot of difficulties in our country, because if we don't have kids, we won't have labor for the future.
Okay.
So
okay, yes. So we can talk about a few things that are connected with the family. So first of all, the structure of the families. Yes. So how many children, just like you said, what's the division of roles? Like who does what? Like who does shopping for food? Who does shopping for certain other products that can also differ? For example, what I learned from my students from Libya, like shopping for meat is not a job for a woman. It's man's job to buy meat. Yes. For example, family plays a really big role in teaching the culture. Yeah, so if you are actually, like you learn from your parents, also, how what is normal, yeah, what is the typical way of living and how you should do things. So families are examples for the new generation, but because we have different structures, so let's say some families are just very small, nuclear, let's say just parents and the children, and you have cultures that are kind of like bigger extended families, so it includes cousins and aunts and uncles and grandmas and grandfathers, and how often you meet and how you actually treat each other, that really influences also, like how you live and really how much time you devote to work and how much time you devote also to other activities. So that's correct. So we think about, and we should also learn a little bit about the family size and structure, like how the families operate, because in some countries actually, you have a lot of businesses that are family owned, and then you inherit, the leadership in the companies, it's something what is called nepotism. It's like the sons or daughters become again the presidents of the companies or the leaders of the companies, and no one from the outside can become, let's say, the CEO or something like that. Yeah, so that's what also is important to understand. Then the living arrangements, like how much they can afford, whether they live alone or they have to live with the parents and so on. Then whether people are getting married or just living together. For example, in recent years, in Turkey, they changed the rules. Then that couples like boyfriend and girlfriend, before they get married, they are not allowed to live together in one household. Yeah, so you have to get married if you want to be with your girlfriend or boyfriend. And now your neighbors can send policemen to your apartment if you are not married. Yes, so that is, let's say, something that you also need to understand. Yes, because if you come there, as a tourist, maybe it's something that would not be considered like they would send a policeman to you. But if you live there longer, let's say you would work in Turkey, you would be with your family and you would not be married, you would maybe have some troubles. Yeah. Then just like we spoke, like when do people have children and how many children they have? Then what is the position of women and men in the society? Then respect to seniors, yes. And then also what is the trust division in the societies? So here are some examples of different kinds of families and their typical environments from different kinds, from different regions of the world. So I just, looked at one research, their typical pictures of the region. So here you can see, let's say, a typical family from India, then family from the USA, then from Poland and Italy. And so we can see really there are differences. And what next is important to understand the kind of education people are getting. So the literacy is not equal everywhere. Somewhere people never get to study as much as in other regions. What does it influence if you do a business in a country with lower literacy rates? What do you think? How could that influence your business if you're doing a business with a country where the literacy rates are lower? What do you think? How could that influence you doing the business? Do you have any idea?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand now. Can you repeat it one more time?
I don't know if
you don't know. Yes. So for example, sometimes some people cannot even read, right? If there is low literacy. So you should use more graphical pictures in your advertisements, maybe. Yes. Or you need to speak more on radio rather than to have a poster. Yes. So, and people maybe don't understand certain things so much. You have to explain certain things because they are not so natural in that region. Yes. So you need to really understand the backgrounds they have and adjust the message to the needs of the people in that country. Because somewhere maybe they have more technical training, so they understand, let's say, how to operate some like equipment, and somewhere you have to really, like in America, you have to write every warning on the package. Let's say even on the cup, you have to write that if you get a cup from a restaurant with a hot coffee, you have to put a sign on it, it's hot, otherwise they can sue you because you didn't know. Yes, you have the right to be stupid. Okay. So the level of literacy, the kind of education people have, maybe, so you know how you can maybe find your workers. Yes, that would work maybe in your brand.
One more education, I don't know how to say it. The country that has more education, I don't know if I'm saying
Yes,
that right, have more I don't know, more people formed in that. Wait a second, I will rephrase.
Take your time. Yeah. So you're saying that maybe people who are more educated, they are also maybe more rich and they can afford more, and also they can maybe develop their own businesses, maybe. Yes. What
Maybe
else?
that, yeah. I'm trying to say that when people are formed, that have more education, they can do the work better than others.
Yes. They can be more
so
productive. They can be more productive. Yes. Okay, very good. Thank you. And then, you know, some people know things only theoretically, and somewhere they know how to do it more practically. Yes. That again is important when you're hiring people in a foreign country. Yes, because sometimes they know it just by the books, but when you put them to a factory or to a store to do it practically, they don't really know how to do it. Yeah, so that's also important. So here, just for your interest, are some comparisons about how many years are compulsory of education for education. Yeah, so what is the typical number of years of education, or how long people spend at schools? But it still doesn't mean that if you spent many years at school that you are more clever. Sometimes the education system is not so, and it doesn't have such a high quality anyway. Okay, then we already touched this topic, attitudes towards time. You know, some people, in some cultures, it's acceptable, you know, to give priority to your private life than to work. And somewhere, you know, like work, the career is more important than, and you have family has to understand. Yes. So, and also, you know, like before you do a business with someone, in some cultures, you prefer to learn a little bit more about that person before you trust that person. Yeah. So you would maybe ask them about, let's say, their family, their education, and things like that before you consider them a good partner. Yes. And in other cultures, these things are not considered your business. Yeah, you should not worry about those things because you're a business partner. So have you ever heard about monochronic and polychronic cultures? Did you ever heard these two terms, polychronic and monochronic cultures?
No.
No. So let me explain to you what those things mean, and then maybe you can decide whether Portugal is more polychronic or more monochronic. So let me get to the next slide. Okay, so people from monochronic cultures, and let me give you an example of a country that is a typical example of monochronic culture. Maybe Germany, yes, belongs to the monochronic. So people from monochronic cultures typically tend to focus just at one thing at one time. Yes, they don't multitask so much. Then when they are at work, they focus just on work. You know, their other things are not okay to do at work. So if you would have to, let's say, take care of some family issues at work at the time when you're at work, it's not considered acceptable. Then you take your time commitment seriously, which means like if you have a contract and you promise to your customer it will be produced by a certain date, you have to really deliver by that date. No delays are acceptable. Yeah. People are more low context and need information. So it means everything needs to be said. You don't just assume that people know, and you don't read between the lines. It's always like what is said is what is meant. Then they like planning. Yeah, they have milestones for different tasks, and they check, like every milestone, and then they progress like that. Then they show respect for privacy. So they will not ask questions about the partner's life. Like they will not ask about family. They will never ask about your, let's say, salary. It's your private thing. They will not ask you whether, let's say, I don't know, you like this or that. It's if it's not a business thing, I should not care. Yeah. And they come on time. And they don't really develop long-term business relationships on personal level. They simply, like consider it just a purpose-driven business thing, but they don't build partner or friendships outside the job, like with their colleagues or their business partners. So polychronic cultures, those are maybe like Italians, Greeks, maybe some Arabic countries. Yes. So they do many things at the same time. Yeah. They a little while work on this, and they move to on something else, and then they return back and do things at the same time. Then if they consider something interesting and important, they stop their work and then they go, let's say, take care of, let's say, cooking or something. They don't care so much about the time frame, but the objective. So let's say if a certain product needs a longer time to be produced well, then they will take longer time, but to do it well. Then they care for people. Yeah, many times the company is kind of like a group of friends. They really know each other. They go to each other's parties. They know each other's families, and they celebrate many things together and things like that. Even when they decide about a business partner, they first want to learn more about the person before they trust that person. Yeah, and then if they have a business partner, sometimes it becomes even a personal friendship. Yes. So what do you think? What is more common for Portuguese culture? Monochronic, more things from monochronic, or more things from polychronic? What do you think?
Polychronic for sure.
Yes, polychronic is closer to Portuguese culture, while for Czech Republic, we have more things in common with monochronic. Yes, it's not like perfectly, like just only this and just only that. There's always some kind of compromises in each culture, but we have more characteristics connected with the monochronic, and then Portugal has more polychronic. What is important? Why do you think it's important to understand these differences? Why do you think you should understand that there are these different kinds of cultures?
Because
what do you think?
So we can respect one another. We are not expecting to go in another country and it will be the same as ours. We can't think that.
Yes, exactly.
Not all people want to go to your house to have dinner. Not all people want to go to the cafe. Not all people want to be your friends.
Yes, exactly, but it doesn't mean that it cannot, you cannot meet a person, in Czech Republic who would invite you to your home and would want to be your friends. Yes, this is more like me. Yeah, I like to do that. But it's not like every person like that. And sometimes, for example, Czechs, they first are kind of distant, but once you get to know them, you become really lifelong friends. Yes, it just takes time to warm up for them, but then they're really good friends. So And just like you said, if you know certain country typically acts in a certain way, you are not maybe so surprised when you're doing business together. Yes, you just maybe need to know that you have to make some compromises. Yes, and maybe like if you know that maybe certain culture tends to extend the deadlines, then you probably need to set earlier deadline. So when the deadline is late, it's still okay for you. Yes, so then things like that.
Jana,
Okay, very good.
Jana,
So yes, time is up.
sorry. Can I ask them if they need to go? Because it's time for them. I don't know if they.
Okay, yes, I'm almost at the end, so I will go just really quickly. So then learning language is very important too, because when you learn a language, you learn also a little bit about the culture, and you also learn to understand the people, and you create better partnerships and friendships. So even a few words are always good. And how you address people, whether you can call them by their first name or you have to use, let's say, titles. Yeah, so like professor, or if you have to call them doctor, or you can call them, let's say, Jana. Yeah, so it's different in different cultures. And then languages don't translate word by word. You know, sometimes there are something that you call idioms, and if you put them in and Google Translate, sometimes it really translates something that doesn't make sense. Yes, because it just makes sense in the language. And then body language is different in different countries. You have to understand also some gestures have different meanings. Then some cultures show emotions. Some, it's not okay to show emotions. Like for example, in China, it's and in some Asian countries, it's not okay to say no directly. Yeah, you just say, okay, we will try, but it means no. Yes, so and of course, sometimes it's better to hire a interpreter and so on. And also different color preferences. And actually, you know, there are some studies that tell you, you know, like what to study about the cultures in order to understand the other country. Okay, so we're here, we're at the end of the presentation. So if anyone would like to learn a little bit more about the possibility to study on an exchange program, or you know, just visit Czech Republic, you can contact either me, or you can contact our people responsible for the international student recruitment, or you know, the international office at our school, and you can get more information about that. So even if you just want to ask anything about Czech Republic, you feel free to contact me. I could give you some advice, maybe where to go, what to visit, you know, when you will be able again to start traveling. So thank you very much for your participation, for all your answers, and spending the time with me. I hope that it was at least a little bit inspiring, and at least maybe practice for your English, and see that you can follow English presentation. I'm of course not a native speaker, so I make mistakes myself. So you don't need to be ashamed to make mistakes yourself, because that's the only way how you can learn, and how you can communicate people, and how you can make friends and become more successful in life. Yes. So I wish you good luck in your studies and upcoming exams. And I hope that this was at least partly enjoyable for you. So thank you very much. So now back to you,
Thank you.
Isabel.
Thank you.
It was wonderful, Jana. It was delightful to hear you. Time spent so quickly. Okay, that's the promise that next year in the spring semester, we are all again, once again, in Business English 2, attempt to another lesson. This is a real master
maybe
class.
we can go there. Maybe we can go there.
Yeah.
And visit your university. And maybe some of them go there in an Erasmus partnership, who knows?
We'll pick on this class and we'll make a trip for a week to Brno, travel to Czech Republic.
Well, you can bring all the students and have a class.
But I guess they don't want to because they don't react, they don't say anything. So maybe
They're shy now.
I
but
agree. We can go there.
yes, there's so much to do, and we have so many international students. You would have a lot of fun. Yes, and Czech students too. So definitely, maybe you can plan something like that.
and include also teachers, right?
Teachers and students.
Also teachers.
And I will share with you the presentation. I will send it to Pedro, for example, and he can send it to you too if you want to.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I don't know if they want to ask something. Do you want to ask something?
Well, I would just like I said, thank you for the opportunity. It was my pleasure, and I wish students nice afternoon and enjoy the classes that are still ahead of you. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Jana. Goodbye. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Bye-bye, students.
Bye.
See you next week.
Bye, teacher. Bye.
Let them go. Let them go.
Okay.
Jana, thank you so much. It was a
Oh,
pleasure.
you're welcome. So I hope it at least met partly your expectations.
Yeah.
Sorry that I was too slow.
It was. I guess they were very interested in listening to you. And next week I will talk to them about what they found about the presentation. And maybe we call you again. Who knows?
Okay. Okay. So thank you very much. It was a pleasure for me. So have a nice afternoon, and I will send now the presentation to you.
Okay, thank you.
It's PDF, okay? With
Yeah.
PDF? Okay, okay.
Sure.
So goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. And if you need us, yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
if you need
Okay,
something from us,
to deliver in the same way that
and
we
come
ask you.
and come to visit us. Come to visit
Okay.
us. Now you can.
Well, I kind of didn't want to get vaccinated right now, so I will not be able to travel so easily yet, but
Yeah.
maybe in the future again.
Maybe.
Okay, so thank you. Goodbye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.